We all love a good top 10 video. Well, at least I do anyway. And today I'm going to give you one from one of my favorite filmmakers. Let's get into it. Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. Hope you're all doing well out there. And this will be my last video of 2021. I hope you all have a great new year. Enjoy your New Year's Eve. Have fun. Be safe out there. And today we're going to have some fun and do a top 10 for one of my favorite filmmakers of all time. And that filmmaker is John Carpenter. Now, before we get into it, like, comment, subscribe. Join me here. I greatly would appreciate that. Click on the little notification bell and you will get notified every time I upload a video. And you can come on over and see what the hell's going on over here. Now, John Carpenter is absolutely one of my favorite filmmakers of all time. And he's my favorite horror filmmaker of all time. Ever since I saw Halloween as a kid, and I saw The Fog, Escape from New York, Big Trouble in Little China. I mean, in the 80s, John Carpenter had such an amazing run in the 70s through the 80s. And I've always enjoyed his films, even some of the lesser ones. But this is going to be the celebration of his top 10, at least in my opinion. Now, if you have your opinion what John Carpenter's top 10 films are, leave your comment down below and give me your list. Or just give me a few of your favorite Carpenter films. But this is my list, in my opinion. And I can sit down and watch a Carpenter movie anytime. And there's a lot of movies in his filmography that I watch many times a year because I just love his work. And we're going to start off at number 10. And this film came out in 98. I remember seeing it opening weekend with the girl I was dating at the time. We're going to go with John Carpenter's Vampires. Yes, I know this film typically doesn't get ranked in the top 10 of some people's lists of Carpenter films, but I've always loved this film. I think it's definitely one of the best vampire movies of the 90s, and it always makes my top 10 vampire lists of all time. I've always enjoyed this film. James Woods gives a great performance. I love Carpenter's direction. He finally got to do a Western, a horror Western, but a Western nonetheless, which we all know if you're a fan, Carpenter's dream when he got into filmmaking was to make Westerns. And he finally got his chance in 98 with John Carpenter's Vampires. At number 9, we're going to go with a Stephen King adaptation. This is the film Carpenter did after the poor reception of The Thing, and he got fired off of Firestarter. Christine. I've always loved Christine. It's a slow burn for sure, but there's some great performances in there. Arnie Cunningham is a great character, this nerdy kid who gets picked on a lot, who has a good friend in Dennis, but to watch his transformation throughout the film and the car itself becoming its own character and its own evil presence. I've always admired Carpenter's work in this film. This is a film that he was hired for. It wasn't a film that he was super passionate about. He didn't write it. He didn't, none of that. He did the score for it and he directed it, but this wasn't a film that he created from the ground up. This was a for-hire job. And he really does a good job here of showing teenage life in the early 80s and the transformation of this kid from nerdy, geeky kid to this cool, evil kind of guy. And I've always loved this film. So yes, at number 9, John Carpenter's Christine. At number 8, John Carpenter's They Live, that came out in 88 with the great Roddy Piper. And there's some great one-liners in this film, and Keith David along for the ride as well. Meg Foster, Peter Jason's in this film. I've always loved this film, even without the little political subtext of the film. It's still a fun sci-fi action film. I wouldn't even consider this a horror film. It's more of a sci-fi action film. And there's some great one-liners. We get that awesome fight scene between Keith David, Roddy Piper's character, that goes on forever, but it's entertaining as hell. And this is one of those films Carpenter did back-to-back with Prince of Darkness after Big Trouble in Little China failed to ignite the box office. He kind of went back to independent filmmaking where he had total creative control. And you can tell, and it's a fun, really well-done film, and I always loved They Live. At number 7, the film why Carpenter went on to do Prince of Darkness and They Live, Big Trouble in Little China, which came out in 86. What a great action comedy kung fu movie with Kurt Russell playing, not actually, even though he's the lead character, he's really not. He's like the side character, and Dennis Dunn's character is actually the lead character. Just a blast of a film with so many quotable lines from start to finish. I love Big Trouble in Little China. It's a film you can just sit down and endlessly watch. The rewatchability on this film is amazing, and it's so well shot, and it's just so well put together. And that freaking kick-ass Carpenter score, you gotta love it. So yeah, number 7, Big Trouble in Little China. And number 6, Escape from New York, which gave Kurt Russell his favorite role of his career in Snake Plissken, and this one came out in 81. I was actually lucky enough to see a screening of this at the Alamo Draft House this past year, and it looked amazing on the big screen, and that Carpenter score pounding through the surround system sounded amazing. And you got so many great actors in here. You got Kurt Russell, Adrienne Barbeau, Ernest Borgnine, so on and so forth. It's just a great film that Carpenter came out with after The Fog. And yes, at number 6, Escape from New York. At number 5, the second chapter in Carpenter's Apocalypse trilogy, Prince of Darkness, which came out in '87. This is the film he did right after Big Trouble in Little China, where he had total creative control. What a smart, well done, creepy horror film. I've always liked this film, but it's even grown on me over the years. You know, I've liked it since I first saw it, but I even enjoy it more now than before. And again, it has a great score by Carpenter. It's so well shot. The acting's pretty damn good. It has a very interesting premise. So yes, at number 5, Prince of Darkness. At number 4, John Carpenter's The Fog. This is his big movie. First, well, it wasn't really a studio. Well, Avco MC financed this one for $1 million. Right after the success of Halloween, he got a 2-picture deal, and he made The Fog and Escape from New York. I've always loved The Fog. I will contend it's one of the most beautifully shot films ever made. Just the shot selection, the lighting, everything. I always love this film. It's a beautiful film to look at. I love the creepiness of The Fog. I love the supernatural elements of it, this ghost story, this curse that's put upon Antonio Bay. You got the great Tom Atkins in there. Jamie Lee Curtis is a side character, and she's fantastic. You got Charles Cyphers making a return, Adrienne Barbeau as Stevie Wayne. Just a fantastic film. I've always loved The Fog, and that comes in at number 4. At number 3, the third and final chapter of his Apocalypse trilogy, In the Mouth of Madness, that came out in '94. This is definitely, I consider this a masterpiece of horror filmmaking. It didn't do well at the box office upon initial release. I think it's gained a little bit of steam over the years. I know there's a lot of folks that really like this film, and there's probably some folks that still don't like it. I can see how this film would turn some people off. I just think it's so well done, and it works for me on every level. And another great score by Carpenter, a great performance by Sam Neill. And there's a great surrounding cast in this film. And I just love In the Mouth of Madness, which comes in at number 3. At number 2, 1978's John Carpenter's Halloween. The one that started a franchise that's still going to this day. We're going to get Halloween ends this coming October. I can't wait to see the final chapter in David Gordon Green's trilogy. What more can you say about Halloween? Between The Shape being a great horror icon, Donald Pleasance's character, Jamie Lee Curtis as the ultimate final girl still to this day. Just a fantastic film and a lesson in simplicity. Carpenter keeps it simple. His shot selections are beautiful with Dean Cundy's lighting. The mask that is so iconic. I just love Halloween. I saw it when I was 6 years old. Scared the crap out of me. Didn't sleep for a week. I absolutely love John Carpenter's Halloween. It comes in at number 2. At number 1, and one of the greatest horror films of all time, I would contend Carpenter has a few films on that list, 1982's The Thing. Now, this movie bombed upon initial release, sadly, and got lambasted by the critics. Now, over the years, it's considered one of the greatest horror films of all time. Some critics have reevaluated it. Now they love it, because knowing how good it is, it's tension-filled, and the paranoia that Carpenter ratchets it up through the film, and obviously those great special effects by Rob Bottin, and another collaboration with Kurt Russell. Has a great cast here across the board about these gentlemen trapped in Antarctica at this research station, and an otherworldly being gets introduced to the situation and begins to stir paranoia and distrust in each other until we get that ambiguous ending, which kicks ass. Carpenter is a master at those endings. I love those kind of endings where you don't get necessarily a happy ending. And unfortunately, audiences don't like those kind of endings, but I dig them, especially when they're well-earned, as they are in this film. So yes, at number 1, John Carpenter's The Thing. So that is my top 10 my favorite Carpenter films. Leave a comment down below. Let me know what your favorite Carpenter films is. You don't have to even list 10. List a couple out of that. You know, he's a long filmography. Check it out and see which ones you like the most. Put them down there. I'd be interested to hear your take on what's your favorite ones. Hit the thumbs up, hit the subscribe button, share this video, all that kind of great stuff. I greatly would appreciate that. I'll be back next week with Blade. I can't wait to do that review. It's something we want to talk about for a while. I'm watching it tonight in 4K. But until then, have a great new year, and bye.